There are over 34,000 known kinds of fish on Earth. That number is almost impossible to imagine. It is more than all birds, mammals, reptiles, and amphibians combined. The ocean is packed with fish. They live in cold water. They live in warm water. They swim through reefs. They hide in trenches. They move through rivers and lakes. They fill places most humans will never see. But then something strange happens. Walk into a grocery store, go to the seafood section, look at what is actually for sale. You will probably see salmon, you will see tuna, you will see cod, maybe pollock, maybe halibut, maybe shrimp, and that is almost the whole list. The ocean has tens of thousands of fish. But our stores show us only a few familiar names. A whole planet of sea life becomes one tiny counter of ice. And here is the weird part. Humans commonly eat only around 200 fish species. That is less than 1%. So what happened to the other 99%? They are not gone. They are still down there. They swim under fishing boats every day. Many are caught by accident. They rise in nets. They land on decks. Then they are thrown back into the sea. Dead. Unused. Ignored. And the answer is not simple. It is not just that people dislike the taste. Stay till the end. The last part will completely change how you think about this. By the end, you will understand something strange. You will see why we eat the same fish again and again. You will see why edible fish get treated like trash. You will see why some fish really are dangerous. And you will see why the biggest barrier may not be biology. It may be psychology. Let's start on a commercial fishing boat. A large trawler pulls a huge net through the sea. That net is not carefully choosing dinner. It is not politely selecting tuna. It is not avoiding every other creature. A net does not think. It drags through the water. It grabs whatever is in the way. Sometimes it catches the target fish, but it also catches many other things. Small fish come up. Large fish come up. Strange fish come up. Valuable fish come up. Unwanted fish come up. Creatures nobody planned to catch come up. Scientists have a name for this. They call it bycatch. And the numbers are brutal. In some shrimp fisheries, 1 pound of shrimp can come with more than 4 pounds of other sea life. Think about that. A boat goes out looking for shrimp, but it may pull up far more life than it actually wants. Some of those fish took years to grow. Minutes earlier, they were alive. Then they hit the deck. They are sorted, they are rejected, they are tossed back overboard. Not always because they are poisonous, not always because they are disgusting, not always because they are useless, but because nobody is waiting to buy them. No customer asks for them. No restaurant builds a dish around them. No market has made them familiar. And many rejected fish are not deep sea monsters. Some are perfectly edible. Some are nutritious. Some might even taste better than fish we already buy. Yet they are treated like waste. This is where the story changes. It stops being only about fish. It becomes a story about humans. Fisheries scientist Daniel Pauly studied this pattern for decades. He described it as fishing down the food web. The idea is simple. Humans chase popular fish first. Those fish become harder to find. Then fishing pressure moves toward smaller or less preferred species. But many other fish still get ignored. So the ocean is not always empty. Sometimes our imagination is empty. The industry is limited by more than fish. It is limited by what buyers recognize. It is limited by what stores can sell. It is limited by what restaurants can describe. It is limited by what customers trust. The ocean has variety. But our appetite is narrow. So why did this happen? Why do we return to the same short list? Part of the answer is history. A few hundred years ago, coastal people ate differently. They ate what came up in the nets that day. There was no modern refrigeration. There was no global shipping system. There were no giant freezer rooms. There were no neat packages traveling across the world. Fish was local. Fish was seasonal. Fish was immediate. You caught it, you cooked it, you ate it, or it spoiled. This made people used to variety. Their meals depended on nearby water. If a strange fish appeared, it could become dinner. Not because it had a fancy name, but because it was food, and it was available. Then everything changed in the late 1800s. Refrigerated shipping arrived. Fish could now travel. It no longer had to be eaten near the coast. It could move through supply chains. It could become a product. And once fish became a product, the rules changed. The market started choosing favorites. Not always the most interesting fish. Not always the most delicious fish. It chose fish that shipped well. It chose fish that froze well. It chose fish that cut easily. It chose fish that cooked predictably. It chose fish that looked the same every time. That matters more than it sounds. Businesses love consistency. Restaurants want dependable fish. Supermarkets want familiar fish. Customers want fish they already know. So a few species became standard. Everything else moved to the background. Cod is a perfect example. In the 19th century, cod was famously abundant near Newfoundland. Sailors said the water seemed almost solid with cod. Cod became more than a fish. It became the fish. It was mild. It was easy to fillet. It was not too strong. It was easy to cook. Restaurants built meals around it. Families learned recipes for it. Fishing communities built economies around it. Then the system locked in. Once a supply chain forms around one species, change becomes hard. Cod was not only competing on taste, it was competing with history. It was competing with recipes. It was competing with menus. It was competing with habits. It was competing with freezers. It was competing with processing plants. It was competing with customer memory. Most fish never get a fair fight. Even if they taste good, they enter a game that started centuries ago. But history is not the whole story. Marketing is not the whole story either. Sometimes we avoid fish for a real reason. Some fish are dangerous, not slightly unpleasant. Actually dangerous. Take pufferfish. Its flesh can contain tetrodotoxin. That poison is extremely powerful. One fish can carry enough toxin to kill more than 24 adults. There is no known antidote. In Japan, pufferfish is served as fugu, but chefs cannot just slice it casually. They train for years. They must pass a government licensing exam. Only then can they prepare it legally, because one wrong cut can be fatal. The risky parts include organs like the liver and ovaries. If handled badly, dinner can become deadly within hours. That is not something most people want at home. Nobody wants to cook while thinking about poison. So yes, some fear makes sense. And pufferfish is not the only example. Some reef fish can carry ciguatera toxin.